All right, we are the MovieBloop Podcast, and we just finished watching Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh my gosh, it was a good
We
movie.
have done it. Anyway,
Uh,
we realized that we didn't introduce ourselves last time, so we're gonna do that this time. So I am Michael. I'm in charge.
I, oh, I am Brian. I'm
Names are
second in
social
charge.
constructs.
They are
They're
social
social
constructs.
constructs, but but I am Jose.
Yeah.
I'm Steven, but that's my slave name.
His
Oh,
real
no.
name is Muhammad Ali.
And I am Nathaniel, aka the caretaker. There we go.
Take
Caretaker. Dog, listen. Okay, he's at the bottom, but you can't carry from the top. You know what I'm saying?
He needs to hold us from the bottom. Yeah.
Exactly.
true.
Atlas
Like
had the
Atlas,
world
yeah.
on his shoulders.
Exactly.
Steven, I didn't appreciate you calling me out with breaking social contracts, okay? Alright, I slipped.
Contracts.
All right.
Slipped, damn it.
Well, anyway, we just finished watching Slumdog Millionaire. So I think first off, what everyone think?
It was a movie.
I think I haven't slept in like 30 hours.
That has
that's
nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, get
Has
out.
nothing to do with it.
Like Shark.
It was amazing.
It was fun. It was a good time. Who doesn't love a happy ending? You know.
One
oh,
happy
spoil-
ending for
Spoiler alert, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
hit it with the spoiler. You know, put it up right there. Boom.
Yeah. But nah. It's a feel good movie, and I feel good. So.
Well, that's
Gee,
good.
guys, what was the brother's name? I've already forgotten.
Salim.
Salim.
Salim. May he rest in peace.
I
even
can
though he's
write-
a piece of crap.
Yeah, I can write. Well, we can talk about that in a
Okay,
bit.
yeah,
So, Jose, what'd you think?
I fucking adored that movie.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. Nathaniel, what'd you think?
Oh, it was a great film. It was really good.
Nice. Well, it seems like we don't have a contrarian this time, which is interesting. I didn't expect.
No,
I hated it.
I can
hated
dig the
it.
contrarian.
No, you don't.
I
I mean,
hated it.
me goes. I had seen it already, so I showed
I'm
everyone
just
else this
saying.
movie. I loved it. I love this movie a lot. It's one of my favorites. So,
Listen,
what's up?
between you guys and me, okay, and
And all the
nobody
20,000
else,
people
nobody
watching, yeah.
else, nobody else has to hear this. But I would have preferred Jason Statham versus Shark personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with
Okay,
you?
so
I'm joking, I'm joking,
I'm
context here for the way that this works is that we randomly choose a movie, and the randomly chosen movie at first was award-winning film The Meg, starring
Yep.
Jason Statham.
Yep.
But we vetoed that, and then we watched this actually good movie.
Yeah.
For
So
sake-
what we have it randomly generate, and then we have a vote. If three of us say we don't want to watch it, then we don't watch it. If three of us say we do, then we do. Three of us did not want to watch the Meg. I did not want to watch the Meg again. I'll be
Wait.
happy. I'll be happy to watch it in a year. But
yeah,
like-
well, send it to the bottom.
Yeah,
I
I-
understand. Understand. Listen,
It's
it's too much glory for some people to just
yeah,
intake too much at
that
once,
was
no?
just too much
Yeah.
action. So I wanted to win. Then
Yeah,
our
yeah.
second was Slumdog Millionaire. So we went with that.
But no, I mean, I could have some contrarian points, but I actually absolutely loved this film. I adored it. There was just
I did
I'm
this
with
the
one.
Mike
writing.
parts. I've seen the full film, but it was really good. Getting to rewatch some certain parts and seeing, how they did it. It was really nice.
Actually watching it like all together for once instead of just clips.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always nice. I don't know. I like doing that for movies as well. If you've like seen clips and you finally watch the whole thing, it's just different.
Guys,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Walking into this movie, I thought this was about like a gangster in LA. I'm not gonna lie. I was like Slumdog Millionaire. Slumdog sounds like a name,
Nope.
like a someone's street name.
Mm.
Nope.
Had no clue it was
The
about.
first three words of the IMDb description is a Mumbai teenager.
Dog. I didn't look up. I literally I skimmed it. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh,
It's
okay,
one
he's a millionaire or something. And I literally walked into this, and I thought it was gonna be like a freaking gang lord, like kind of going over the past of how he got to become the millionaire and like the king of the whatever he
Wow.
did. I don't know. That's what I had in my head.
Wrong.
And so I'm sitting here like, oh, I have no clue
We'll-
what's going on.
We'll watch Casino another day. We'll watch Casino another day. But
Casino?
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
what
watch that.
Casino's about. Yeah.
That's
All right, we can watch like Scarface or something.
this
We will at
Anyway.
some point.
Anyway,
Slumdog
we're-
reminds me of a Forrest Gump or like Fried Green Tomatoes, where it's told through a story of like
It
a
is
Forrest Gump.
Gumpy.
It revolves around him at the bench telling a story. This kind of revolves around the game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, of him telling his life story, which is really cool.
Yeah, that was an interesting way to go back through his life through the question.
That's what I like love about this movie. I think that's like a really cool way of doing it because like
Mhm.
I've never seen that anywhere else, where like he's on the game show itself and with each question we're seeing his life and how he knows the answer. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, it also like it kind of makes you like invested because like for some of them at least they don't tell you blatantly how he learned it. So like you're watching his life and you're like, wait a minute, where's this come up? And then you're like invested. It's not just like, oh, this is just some dumb kid running around like I don't know Mumbai just doing whatever. It's like, oh, he's gonna get somewhere and something important's gonna happen to him. What
Hmm.
is it? Like how is he affected by this?
Yeah, and like how does he like get to the point of being
Mhm.
a poor kid with only his brother left alive and ends up on this game show about to become a millionaire? You know what I mean?
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see like you see that process and it's like really cool because he goes through like a whole lot of like horrible things. He goes through tons of struggles,
Hmm.
and then
Actually,
finally gets up there.
mm, that is one of my very few complaints with the movie. Actually, is like I love how it follows his life and explains how he knew all the questions, and like you're watching the story and you're like, okay, I'm waiting for the point in the story where he knows the question. Like when his brother pointed the gun at him and was like, "You want a Colt 45 between the eyes?" And
Hmm.
that's how he knew the guy's last name was Colt.
Yeah.
Was because his brother said Colt 45, and I liked all that. What I wish, and I think it might have been in the director's cut, and they cut it out because they were like, "Oh, it's over 2 hours. We don't want to make it longer." Um,
It is already kind of a long movie. It's two
yeah,
hours.
it's a longer movie, but I
Yeah.
think they might have cut out like the scene where he gets on the game show because I don't remember that.
Well,
Like during the movie, yeah, he was part of like the telemarketer thing.
but that so like they hinted at it instead of actually showing because there was no reason to actually
Mhm.
show it because he already knew how to get on. He told another dude exactly how to get on. He
Yeah, but
knows
I would have
exactly
liked to have
when to
seen the.
call. And so I feel like we already
I,
knew and I
mhm.
feel like if they had shown that it just kind of would have been redundant. It's like you should know because he said how he gets on. They showed you or they told you they just didn't show it to you. You know what I
Yeah, you
mean?
I
see,
don't. I mean, maybe, but I personally would have liked it if, like, it showed like the scene of like the if to confirm the suspicions. Because I mean, yeah, he said, "Oh, this person says that," but like we don't really see that. Okay, we don't like. He's like, okay, the phone's open, but like, the chances? Everybody's calling in, like millions of people are calling in every freaking second.
Hmm.
So what are the chances that he would get on? I would have loved to have just seen like a 30-second scene or something
I don't know
where
cuz like
he
he
says that
I think that's
like he
it's a matter of preference.
Yeah, I think it's
yeah,
just a matter
Disagree.
of preference because
I
like
think so.
he like says because it's not common knowledge of when you can call because most people wait to get on game shows until after he's done talking and says you can call now, but he knows that at the start of the sentence is actually when you can start calling in. People don't know that. You're not gonna know that unless you know someone in production. So he was guaranteed to get in if he wanted to, because he never did it because he never wanted the money. He didn't care. All he wanted was Latika. The reason he went on is because he knew she would be watching.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
like that's like why. So like we knew that he could get on whenever he wanted to. He just did it then because he
I,
knew that he needed to.
I just felt like that they could have like put in like a, I don't know, 10-second clip of him doing that or something,
I
or
know.
like just, I don't know. I think that would have made it a little better for me.
Excuse.
Anyways,
Mm.
I mean, you guys don't have to agree. This is my opinion,
I
but
completely disagree, but
Sure.
yeah, it makes
yeah.
sense.
I hold the third position of it could have the detail that Michael's talking about could have not been in there, and I still wouldn't have cared.
Mm.
Like even if that was a loop, like a plot hole, I still wouldn't have cared.
Mhm.
Because for me, I'm I guess the third position of I forgot that detail like 10 seconds after it was said, because I moved on and
Mhm.
I didn't really like. Okay, they set it up, cool. I already knew he was gonna be on the game show at the beginning of the movie. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That
So that
was,
detail could have not been in there, and I still wouldn't have cared.
but
Uh,
that was also. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna completely move topics, so you finish your topic.
Well, no, I was also gonna completely move topics. So,
I. Oh God, sorry.
Fucking
so when he was,
Do we need a talking stick?
No.
do we need a
the
talking stick?
talking.
We
Honestly,
have a conch. We
Fucking
fucking.
Spider-Man pointing
Pass
around
it
like
around.
Yeah.
I think this movie needed more Meg, but whatever. Continue, Brian.
Yeah,
Shut
I
up.
understand that, but there was like no water in this. I mean, there's some water, but not as
So
much as
anyway,
it could have been.
Bro,
There's more poop in this movie than water, but no.
wow.
No, we saw the whole Taj
Yikes.
Mahal. We saw a beach.
The pool.
The
Yeah,
mom
the-
fell in the water.
Fountain.
Never mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, that
yeah,
is not important.
yeah. No. Okay, so the thing is that okay. Um, so remember when the freaking what's the guy's name? The game show host guy? I don't know.
Oh,
Prem.
Prem.
crap.
Remember when he threw the curveball and he wrote the wrong answer
He
on the
wrote B.
mirror for? Yeah, he wrote
Yeah.
it for 10 million, right?
Mhm.
But at the beginning, they had already mentioned that he won the 10 million.
Yeah.
It kind of took away for me, anyways. It took away from the suspense. I was like, he's already gonna win, whether that's the right answer or the wrong answer. I don't really care because like if he does it and then he gets him for cheating, he's gonna end up at the detective's office. If he doesn't do it, he's gonna suspect him for cheating because he tried to give him the wrong answer and he didn't take the bait. So he's gonna end up at the detective's office. I was like, it's literally a lose lose situation. I don't know. It just kind of like the suspense was killed there in that
Well,
moment.
that was not meant. Like, so that was meant to sort of build suspense, but for me that scene wasn't like it wasn't specifically for suspense. For me, that scene was to really show what Prem's intentions actually were,
Hmm.
because he's like, I know that this dude's gonna get famous because of this. He is going to become more famous than me if he gets this question right, because he'll become a symbol of hope for the slums, right? And he's like, that's a new one that would get rid of me as being that symbol of hope, because he mentioned that he was from the slums originally and became a millionaire overnight as well. So the reason that he did that is because he wanted him to say B. He wasn't gonna have him arrested for cheating, but he would have lost, and that's what
Hmm.
matters, because he wouldn't have hit that million mark, and that's what
Hmm.
he wanted. He
Would
didn't
have been the end of
want
the movie.
him to, yeah, he didn't want him to take over the role of the beacon of hope for the slums. He didn't want him to become more rich or famous than himself. And
Hmm.
so that's why he did that. That wasn't meant to build suspense. That was meant to show that everyone is against him, including the game show host. At least for me, that's what that was.
I didn't get that from that at all.
I'd
I got
say.
it as
Go continue.
actually no, you should continue. I've held the stick for a
Uh,
while, so here.
I would say it's a mixture of both because if I'm correct, Jose, you said I can breathe now, right? After that scene,
The
the
one
scene,
where he answers the last question,
the
or the second to last
The
one.
second to last question.
second last one.
Mhm. Yeah,
For
I did say that.
I felt like it was good suspense. Like it doesn't just show you the idea of it doesn't just show you who Prem is, but I feel like it does build that suspense because I was sitting there like, oh snap, and I was like, that's how good of a film this was. How they like really handle it. Like it
Hmm.
makes you still like he's gonna win, but you're still like, I mean,
You're
hey,
still
this is the
invested enough to feel
Yeah.
suspense.
exactly. So I think
You're
they
like maybe there's some bump along the way. Like, was there a bump, or
Or a
are we
twist.
getting closer to that point in the movie that we know is gonna come, or is
yeah.
there still gonna be like more
Because
twists
also
and turns?
the Prem, the host, he was like, this is the answer is B. The whole even during the show, he's like, the answer is B,
Yeah,
right?
the
But
fact
then
that he
he
said
said,
that so often
but he said it
Yeah.
so
made me like
often.
doubt.
But he said, Jamal said it was D, right? And so you were like, okay, is he gonna switch it to B and say it's B, or is he gonna stick with D and like possibly be wrong? Because like we don't know that the answer to that question. We know nothing of fucking cricket. We live in the U.S.,
Hmm.
right? So like, how would we know the answer? You know?
Hmm.
So I don't know. Like, I still felt the suspense, even though I've seen the fucking movie already, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, it's
Yeah.
been years, but still, like, I felt suspense in that scene, and I
Yeah.
think the fact that even though I know that he's gonna get that question right, that didn't take away from that, just because of how invested I was. And that's what most suspense scenes in movies like bank on, is they bank on your investment in the character.
Hmm.
They bring you in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's about that, because like we know that the hero is gonna make it in the end. They like always do, or almost always. So like suspense
Infinity War.
scenes are like completely central with like your engagement in the character.
Mhm. I think I was more invested in his brother and
I fucking hated his
his
brother.
love.
What?
No, I disliked his brother too. Don't worry. but it was also like I wanted to see where his route would lead because I already knew the main character was gonna win, right? I was like, this is gonna happen. This is how it goes. He's gonna phone a friend, and I
You,
thought maybe she would know it. I actually I tried to predict that is
you
that
thought he
he
was
would
gonna lose.
phone her. I thought she was gonna know the answer because she's the third musketeer, right? And she was also in the class, but she didn't know, so I was wrong there. But like I had the general concept. I knew he was gonna win anyways. Um, so I wasn't really invested in that in the end. I was more invested in seeing what happens to the brother because the brother was in a sticky situation. You know, he like decided to like do the one good thing in his
The
heap of
only good
bad.
thing he ever did in his life. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
no, he also saved him on multiple occasions.
his brother is a really cool character.
He's
That is
probably my
like
most interesting character in the
He's a
movie.
very
think he's the most
interesting
human.
character.
he's a bad guy, but when the chips are down, you can't argue that he's not looking out for his younger brother.
Yeah.
Like he still was there for him.
He was consistently for his younger brother throughout the entire film.
I think Jamal is probably the best representation in this movie of just how much. I mean, obviously, we can't speak to first-hand experience because we're fucking in the U.S. here.
Yeah,
But
we do not live in
how the
cities.
movie presents it to us, Jamal's probably like the greatest example of this is how much just growing up here can fuck you up. Like if you're trying to like make it and you're just not fortunate enough to get the good cards dealt, sometimes you make
Jamal or
decisions that
Salim?
takes you. Uh, Salim, yeah, I
Okay,
meant Salim.
yeah.
I meant Salim. It shows just how much like that shit can fuck you up in order that you can survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did what they had to survive the whole
Yeah.
time.
Because they were literally 8 and their mom got killed during like a religious sort of riot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
And it was
Hindu
just-
versus Muslim riot.
Yeah. So it's just, I mean, fuck, 8 years old, and then after that you're just on your own. Like,
Mm.
And like,
what you think everything's gonna be roses after that?
can I
Oh,
add something to that too?
Of course.
Yeah.
If I'm just stealing the conch, let me know. But I know Jose's like, we live in the U.S. I don't know. We don't know how it feels. Well, I'm black. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh my
Damn it, Nathaniel,
But-
damn it.
Nice. Nice.
What-
I thought the proper term was urban.
It is urban. In
Go
all
ahead.
that's a scientific name. In all seriousness,
The scientific name.
what the brothers reminded me of was Boys in the Hood.
Oh,
In the
I've seen
sense
that.
of one tries to get out while the other one kind of gets sucked into
Yeah.
the corrupt norm of it. You know what I mean?
It's weird because in that movie, the quote unquote good one is the one that like gets killed.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a little different from here, but
Spoilers
I
for-
mean, he
Well,
did
his
do a
brother-
lot of stuff
Spoilers,
that
spoilers.
got
Yeah.
his brother beat up.
Well,
like,
well, his brother got corrupt in the streets and got power. It's like, and also like the idea of power,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
like how you can see throughout different people in this movie who had power and they kind of abused it, and they were like, yeah, like we can do
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, all the rich and powerful people are like, I don't know, they're like every time that they're confronted with like the main characters, it's either like I can use you for what I need and then catch you away, or I don't want anything to do with you. You're poor. Get away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
Right.
like the two. Those are the two like decisions they make on that. And then finally, Jamal becomes like the only rich person who like actually cares about anybody
Yeah.
towards
Mhm.
the end, which is a I don't know, a cool message.
Yeah, which was like Latika. And I believe that's the only reason he was able to say like innocent and like pure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's definitely what he was. He was like the innocent and pure character. He was just a nice guy trying to make a living,
Mhm.
right? Because like you saw, like he didn't want to steal and do all those bad things. Like
Mhm.
when he was guiding the Americans and their car got completely fucked up, like he like you could see on his face he was shocked and he was sad about that. He did not want that to happen.
Mhm.
And so like I think the whole reason he was able to like remain that way, at least to me, I think it's because of that memory of Latika the whole time.
Hmm.
Because whenever anything bad happened, he would just remember her and remember why he was doing what he was doing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it was
Yeah.
all to get to her, and I think that's why. And like Salim didn't have that. Salim was like, I just want money and power, and I want to like not have to freaking fight for my life every minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he took all that responsibility, and that's why he was able to get corrupted.
Yeah.
Is because he's like, I just need. It doesn't matter what I do, as long as I survive, I'm fine. And Jamal didn't have that. He was, I just need to get to her and keep her safe.
Mhm.
But couldn't you say that's kind of like the not the priority, but kind of like the mindset of people in the slums. You know, when you don't have money, you know what it's like, so you will do anything, including morally gray stuff,
Mm.
and also just morally bad things, to get money and keep yourself away, because it's literally you versus them.
Yeah, I'm not
If
saying he was
they're
like,
not dead, then you're gonna be dead.
yeah, like I'm not
So
saying
that's like,
he's like, like I understand where he's coming from. I understand the mindset. You
mhm,
know, I'm not saying he was like bad for that. You know, I didn't like
mhm,
how he turned out, but like he did what he had to survive. You know what I mean? Like I get
mhm.
it. I just didn't like how
Or
he
it
turned
wasn't just
out.
him; it was
But
also Latika. Like that's why she was with the gangster as his like housemate or wife
she
or
had no
whatever.
choice.
I think she did have a choice there. I
I don't
think
think
she
so.
chose there.
I
There
don't
was
think she
one
did.
line that she says. I don't know
It's
either
a
way, but
fake
there was one
choice.
line that like I don't know if it gives merit to Brian's idea or not. But she's like, "How what will we live on?"
Hmm.
And then in my mind, that's like, oh, she's lived in money like for a while now, and she's like used to it at the very least. Maybe I don't know if that says whether or not she made the choice to stay
Hmm.
or like why. But in my mind, it was like, oh, well, if I leave here, we'll have nothing, and then how will we live?
Hmm.
I think that goes back to the mindset. Like she
Yeah.
also has the mindset because like throughout it, she's on the streets after they literally like they kind of um he lets go of her hand on the train.
Salim
The
does, yeah.
brother, yeah, Salim. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the names, but
Mm.
yeah, no, it's just like after that, when you see her, she tells him to go when he is at the room, given he had a gun to his face, so it kind of makes sense there. But then introduced later, and then she brings up that question and stuff. I don't know. I just kind of saw her as kind of like having the same mindset. Everybody but Jamal kind of had that me versus everybody else, and kind of morally gray mindset, where he was like, I'm lawful good.
I don't know. I like partially like obviously she made choices, you know, but I think most of the time she didn't have a choice because
Definitely.
in like their society, by the way, they like women are considered less than, they're not equal. They're considered
Mhm,
lesser than. So like a lot of stuff she did, she was forced to do, and she didn't have a choice in that because if she spoke up, she'd be killed. Like
Mm.
that's not a choice. That's she has to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You
like
either like stick with a Javed and Salim, or you risk going out there and then just getting picked up by another Javed or Salim.
yeah,
Like they literally got picked up
because that literally
earlier in the
happened.
movie as kids.
They were with Maman, and then she got picked up by Javed. Like, because to me, the reason that like the what we would live on, to me, that was her saying, if we leave, I'm just gonna get picked up by him again or by someone else, because she knew Jamal like couldn't actually protect her, you know, unless he had money of some kind, because he couldn't. She would just get picked up by someone else. So like to me that's what that was, is that she just doesn't have a choice in the matter. And the only reason she was able to get away is because Salim in the end helped her and killed Javed, you know?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I don't like I do think that obviously she made some choices that were like less than ideal, but I think most of the time she just did what she was forced to do. I don't think she had a choice in most of anything in her entire life
Yeah,
until
I
then.
agree.
Yeah. Um,
Yes.
Another thing I was gonna bring up earlier, was with the question at the very beginning. The choices were like, how did he win? He was lucky. He was a genius.
He was
He
cheater,
cheated,
or it was
or
written.
it was written. And in like, I obviously well, not obviously. You asked before who got it right, and I said yeah, because like I don't know, the last one was
Hmm.
it seemed like a good message, but in the back of my mind, like throughout the first half of the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, they like set these guys up as like people who like steal but like have to, right?
Hmm.
And then it's like it like sets you up to like put you in the mindset of maybe even like the guy on the show who's like, oh, this is just some slum dog who's had to cheat for money his whole life. So now what's different now?
Hmm.
He couldn't have done this legit.
Yeah.
Um, so then you like kind of feed into that like, wait a minute, like could he be cheating? And then I don't know. In my mind, like there's like all these like moments where he shows kindness. Um, Jamal.
Jamal.
When Jamal, yeah, specifically mine was when he gave the kid $100 bill. I was like, oh, this is this. He did not do that. He did not
Yeah,
do
he didn't cheat. He was
that. No,
legit.
and like maybe it would. I could see it as like eventually going to be like a, oh, we stole from the rich kind of thing,
Hmm.
but then it did not. It was not that at all.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was like an interesting like you know what the end is because he wins, but it's like how we get there, like that is completely up to or what like you'll see, and then
It's
like
the
what kind of twist happens.
yeah.
About the journey.
Most I was gonna say most movies follow the cliche of the destination is irrelevant. What matters is the journey.
Right. Exactly.
Like, so
Mm.
that's why I don't know. Let's like that's again back to the suspense thing. Why it still got me is because like along the way, what if he did get a bump in the road, like Jose said? What if he did fuck up somewhere? You know? So
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, throughout the entire story, like the entire movie,
Mm.
he was lawful good, right? I don't think he
Well,
actually would have made it past. I mean, his brother literally saved him in almost every encounter.
yeah, if he was by
I mean,
himself, he would have died.
Yeah,
yeah,
he would have been
Yeah, for sure.
he was a piece of crap to him. But like when the time came to like kind of do the right thing, his brother constantly like freaking threw the acid on the guy when they were in the camp because he was like he's gonna burn out his eyes.
Yeah.
um, Took care of his brother. I do think he actually ditched her, not out of hatred for her, like on the train, but out of kind of love for his brother, because he constantly shows love for his brother throughout the thing, even though he's a piece of crap in like everything else. Um,
I
He says
think.
that, that's
when he gets
Go ahead.
chilly on him while he's sleeping, he's like, "I'll get you one day." And my mind's like, "Oh, he's gonna mess her up one day. There's gonna be some choice, and he's gonna make
Left her behind.
one that hurts her." Yeah, and that's what happened. Yeah,
mm,
And
in my
also
mind, that was like all it was.
to me as well, that in no way was a kindness. But to me, that was his way of keeping Jamal in line because he wanted to make sure that Jamal listened to him and did what he said. He literally said it throughout the entire movie. I'm the older one. I'm the boss. You do what I say. And if you noticed, every time when they were younger that Jamal was around Latika, he never listened to Salim. Not a single fucking word. He helped
Mm.
Latika put the fucking peppers on his balls. Like the only time Jamal ever stood up to his brother was when he was around Latika. So to me, that was a way of keeping Jamal in line and making sure that he listens to him is by getting rid of Latika because Latika's his rebellion.
Hmm.
You,
so in that case, why did he give up his own life if he's very? I mean,
well, that was the end of the movie. They were older
hypothetical.
then.
I mean, yeah, but he also like chased down Latika in the train cart instead of letting her go, you know? And
Hmm.
he freaking gashed her face too.
Yeah,
I think
he was an ass the whole time.
oh no, he definitely was, but
But
I think that his kind of his core wasn't from like a point of control. Like he seemed very convinced that he sent the message to the place. So like when he was talking about he sent the message.
I mean, he was trying
Right.
to defend himself.
I don't know. I just
To me, that was just a dude trying to defend himself. That had nothing to do with anything. That
I
was
mean
literally just
maybe
him
not,
being an asshole.
but I mean just kind of like looking back on him and like kind of understanding where he comes from as like an older brother. I do think that what he, like the things that he did came from that idea of like take care of your younger brother. But he wasn't thinking about him. He wasn't in the forefront of his mind always. No, he was still a piece of crap. But he still had like that bond with him, which is shown throughout the movie where
Yeah,
he constantly like gets him out of crap because Salim is not lawful good. Um, Crap. What's her main character's name again?
Jamal.
Jamal.
Jamal. Yeah, Jamal is I'm gonna say it again, lawful good, and Salim kind of sees that and he's like he's gonna get himself killed, so he's constantly pulling him out of the crap, and that's where kind of like his love shines through. I don't think it's in any sort of controlling way. I think that's like legitimate family brotherly love, and I think they did an amazing job of portraying that in the film and throughout it, and that's kind of like
Mm.
that's what touched me was
Hmm.
because Salim, even though he's like just not good, he um he in the end he had a good core.
No,
He
yeah,
wasn't all bad.
I agree with that. What I'm saying is that the scene where he left Latika on the train had nothing to do with kindness. He was
Oh,
just
maybe
being an
not.
asshole. Like that had no.
Maybe not.
I'm saying that scene had nothing to do with kindness. Everything
Oh,
else made sense. Like to me, I think the reason that he left him behind in the hotel and made him leave is so that he wouldn't get wrapped up in the gangster world because Salim had just joined it. Salim had just joined the gang world, and
mhm.
to me, he didn't want Jamal to get sucked into that, and that's why he ditched him at the hotel and made him leave. Is so that he would go, because he knew that Jamal would go and just be a normal dude and get a job, because there was evidence of that. Literally, like the scene before, they were working in a kitchen. You know, he was
Yeah.
doing honest work, and so I think the reason he left him behind in the hotel was just so he wouldn't get wrapped up in that. I think that was a kindness. I don't think fucking Latika or raping Latika was a kindness, but I think that was a kindness. You know, leaving him behind.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know what to take away because when they meet up later as like
Adults,
adults, I guess. Yeah, adults.
adults.
After Jamal punches Salim,
Mhm.
he's like on the ground and he's like, "Yeah, I know you never forgive me." So
Yeah.
I can't really be sure from the way he said that whether or not he meant that as a kindness or whether he just knew he fucked up.
Mhm. I think
So
it
yeah,
was.
it's a little gray for me.
I think it was like a mix of both, where he's like, that was like the right thing to do in a sense, because then Jamal didn't get wrapped up in the gang world, but it was like at the same time a shitty thing to do, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
I just don't know if it was purposeful.
yeah, yeah, I know what you
My-
mean.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
Yeah.
know.
If I do like how in the end the last thing he Salim the last thing before he told like Latika to leave, he's like, listen, I know I did stuff. He said, and I wish you could forgive me. He said, so
Yeah,
just go. I was like, that's good. Like at the end of the day, he's like, that's my little brother up there. He's
yes,
like,
yeah,
he's hope for us. You go, forgive me for everything I've done, because he knew he was gonna die. I mean, he knew.
yeah.
Okay.
When he became an adult, he like you could see he turned to religion. He became like
He
a
did.
hardcore like
Yeah.
Muslim. So I think that's what that was. I think it's because he started to like actually like believe in like his religion, and it made him like, because like that happens to a lot of people where they get into religion, and then they start seeking forgiveness and feeling bad about past things they've done.
Yeah.
So I
And when
think
Jamal stays with him, you can hear him saying, "Forgive me
Yeah.
for my
Forgive
sins."
me for
for I
I've
know I have
sinned.
sinned. Yeah,
Yeah. Which I think.
I thought he was about to rap. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Don't quote me on this, but I think in Muslim religion, murder is not as bad as in like Catholic or
In Islam,
Protestant religion. Yeah, in Islamic
I've
religion.
never read the Quran. I don't know.
I
Um,
wouldn't know.
I
I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
I don't think that's true. I think it's a
I'm
hard.
putting a heavy asterisk in this 10-second time.
Yeah.
No, this
I
is heavy.
think this is
I don't know
incorrect, but
too
you
much.
can keep going.
I was just thinking about that because like if he I don't know, but it was also their religion that they picked up, and that's literally why they were being hunted at the beginning was because
Because they were Muslim.
of because they were Muslim. Yeah.
They were attacked by Hinduists.
Can
I actually saw that
See
scene
this
was
or
very
something like that.
controversial. People didn't like that, but go
can I
ahead, Nathaniel.
actually not to interrupt and not to try to change subject.
Interrupt.
Please
Well,
interrupt.
not
Change
Fight
the
him.
subject.
not to try to change subject, but speaking of religion, and like I said, I might not know anything I'm talking about. I'm not trying to, but when it came, was that Vishnu, the little boy, was
No,
who
that
was
was Rama.
It was Rama.
it was
I
Rama?
think.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the Hindu.
That was a boy,
Something. Let me look at it.
a
Real quick.
deity.
Rama.
Look,
Bow.
Yep,
uh,
deity.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
Rama's one of the avatars of Vishnu.
Yeah, he's one of the avatars.
But that's how he also knew one of the questions because of that.
got it.
Yeah.
Why?
That
Wait, why'd you bring it up though, Nathaniel? Do you have
Oh,
something?
it was just because I know Vishnu. I was looking it up, and for some reason, like as all the chaos is happening, the quote Oppenheimer said, you know, like I have become the god of death, to destroy your worlds. And it's
Hmm.
kind of like as all the chaos is happening, I was like, huh, interesting. And then I looked into it more, and apparently, like I said, I may not, like you said, this probably might be wrong. I'm not trying to say I'm an expert, but he was inspiring the prince who was born from a class of warriors to fight. And I was like, oh, you can say kind of like, Jamal was inspired, or he born from the slums and he brought hope to everybody. I don't know. I know that's a giant stretch, but I was just thinking about it.
Hmm.
hmm.
That's all I really had to add.
We'll do
Guys,
this.
I'm gonna fight Steven now.
Why?
I'm gonna
No.
transition this, and I'm gonna fight Steven
On
Don't do that.
because of the first thing he said the second we started talking about the movie.
Can I
which
sell
was
What did I
popcorn
say?
at this fight?
He called it's gonna be a little complicated, but he called Slumdog Millionaire a feel-good movie,
yeah.
Oh, only at
which
the
I don't agree
exact
with.
very end of the movie. At no other point in this movie is it a feel-good
I,
movie.
yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, for 90% of this movie, I would say I did not feel good.
You're
Big
right.
sad.
You're right.
Feels good as that some little kid gets his eyes burned out. Like, ugh.
I,
Yeah.
I
did
literally,
not
I was
feel
like,
There's a list.
Yeah,
There's a list
I
of
felt
things.
great. Yeah.
In fact,
oh, great.
in fact, I noted that during the first half of the movie, as they were growing up until adulthood, the shots tended to be more claustrophobic and emphasizing on their poverty. While towards the end of the movie, when they were in present time, the shots tended to be more open in the city.
Wow, yeah.
True, yeah. Like when they were on the skyscraper and they had the whole landscape behind them and everything.
And when dang it, the
Latika.
name Latika, when she started like run down the street and then she turned over the TV, you could run, you could run around. Already felt like 10 times more than like early in the movie
Where they were literally like dodging between walls in the slums. Yeah.
yeah, maybe it was because they were also children, so they were being presided over by tall human adults. But
True.
I did like that how they run around. It's kind of like a way of the director or whoever, the movie to show you like where they are, like the world
Yeah.
you're gonna like. They're running around the streets, like, oh, so this is the world they put us in. All right, got
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was a really
Exactly.
cool scene at the beginning where all the kids were like running and some got up on like houses and whatever and some kind of went down into like the crevices between the houses.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have been caught. I would have tripped and fell.
Uh,
They would've-
Dog,
I
you wouldn't have
will-
made it across the field.
I will say one of my, I'll say criticism. One of my criticisms with the movie is related to something I was talking about with someone recently, which was that Western films always fall into the trope of having the lighting effects, or at least the visuals, be orangey and sandy, and then they make that so then the area you're transported into seems like a very poverty, desolate place.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you compare it with how the place actually looks in real life, it's like way more clear and not sandy and orangey like the camera shots make it.
Yeah.
So I do
You can
think the
tell that,
fact,
yeah.
I think the fact that the director definitely has like a Western bias at how
Yeah.
he looks at like India.
Actually,
Yeah.
Like the lens are
Yeah.
very like 2008. Like, look, it's sandy, it's orangey. Don't you feel poor just watching this movie?
Yeah.
Look at it, orange, orange, poor. There are no other colors.
Mm-hmm.
the director was.
Was there a clear sky?
Danny
during-
Boyle.
I felt like
Yeah,
no.
I was gonna say the director was he's English.
He is.
Yeah. Literally
This
British, I
movie
think.
is based on a book written by an Indian uh, politician.
Oh.
Oh wow.
But
Oh, that's
they
fine.
took that that book and then they made it into a film. Or an Englishman, and I guess his studio or whatever did that.
Yeah, Danny Boyle was the.
Yeah, I
Danny
I
Boyle
decided
has
to
some crazy eyebrows.
I decided to
Anybody
bring
listen
that
to this,
point
look
up.
up Danny Boyle and just realize his eyebrows are.
He does have some pretty crazy eyebrows. You're right.
Like the man's made a really good movie out of that book though. That's for sure.
Based on going off of that, through research, I found that there's actually a lot of controversy about this movie,
I
There
raised
is,
this on
yeah.
that, yeah.
There's a lot of controversy in this movie, actually.
which is interesting. And it's interesting that um on my buddy John Wikipedia's blog here on his,
God
his
Emperor Wikipedia Sama.
yeah. Well, like it has two sections: reactions from outside India, and it's like glowing reviews, fantastic, get to see a new part of the world, incredible story, makes me feel like I can accomplish anything. And then reactions from inside India, and then it's like, well, like this is like anti-India. This is everything good that happens to him comes from the West.
Yeah.
Indians are poor people who hurt each other, and they just want to get out and get away from it all.
Yeah, that's why I brought up that point because I was like,
Yeah.
because you called it a feel-good movie, which fucks with me a little bit because I'm like,
Oh wait.
it feels like it went to like a weird direction towards the end for me.
Mm.
Because it's not like I was actively like being like, this is stupid, this is dumb, but I was like, I don't feel right about it because throughout the movie you see from like a very young age, Salim is like, money, we need money, and you sort of see like this obsession with money,
Mm-hmm.
and you sort of see how it's corrupting them, and it's like, well, they're in poor circumstances, so of course you care about money a lot, even though it's kind of fucked up how much they have to go through because they're poor.
Yeah.
And then he gets on the show. Jamal does. He gets on the become a millionaire show, and he's like, maybe if I do this, Latika will be watching, and we'll get one step closer from just being able to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And Latika decides to like leave the Javed's area thanks to Salim because she cares for Jamal, but she leaves before he even like answers the question. Like she's already made her choice to pursue Jamal before it's even guaranteed he's gonna have money or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie sort of proposes the idea, you know what, the money isn't what matters.
Yeah.
This is a rags to riches story, but ultimately those aren't the values that define what happiness means in this movie.
No.
And then Jamal wins, and literally the entire country is like, yippee ki yay! A poor person has now joined the elites and is rich now.
Yeah.
We
We
are
did
happy
it.
because of this. And I'm like, wait, so now we are happy that money is indeed important.
Mm-hmm.
Money is a thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I love the part when she's like, I don't even know the answer. Because the answer didn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
they've already like found their own answers before like it's over. Like, they're gonna be together no matter what. Like, that's not what matters.
Yeah.
But which is why I love that it's just by random chance. Yeah, he gets someone. But there's like this weird contradiction in the movie where like Western values of making it, and then they just fuck with the value of you don't need money to be happy.
Yeah.
Like there's which is why I think so much of like the premise of the movie is integral to like the themes of the movie. Is that the dude's in the show called Being a Millionaire.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Yeah, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And then the part of the theme of the movie is that, man, money fucking is the reason why fucking everything sucks. Like my brother went to this gangster shit because money, money, money. That's
And he
how our
died in the
society
bath
has
of
to
money.
work. So there's like this, and I can't help but think that like the director and adaptation has to do a little bit with that emphasis in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, like look, everybody loses their mind when this random person fucking wins all that money. Like really?
Yeah,
Like this is the
is he
theme
the
once
hero?
emphasized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what did he do for me? All he did was make money. Like that doesn't move.
Right.
That doesn't change me at all.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm not him.
That's why I thought it was
It's not gonna
weird.
happen to everybody. Yeah.
Because again, I'm going now. Now I'm on Wikipedia, and I see that the photo is like the feel good movie of the decade or of the year, and I'm like, really? The last 10% of the movie, when things get good, is what you're gonna market this with?
You're right.
Yeah.
Don't talk about anything else in the movie.
First
All
half,
the
they
yeah,
got
like
beaten up countless times.
the religious tension, the terrible things they have to go through when they're poor. Don't focus on that. Focus on the romantic love story and rags to riches. You can make it. Things will be good. Also, everyone who's poor them. Man, poverty sucks.
Poor them,
Orange.
so poor.
Okay. Also,
Orange.
remember that she. Okay, so when she was like, what are we gonna like live on? And he was like, love. And he was like, okay, if you do believe me, meet me at the train station. And she did actually meet him at
Yeah,
the
she
train
went.
station before he went on the millionaire show. So
Yeah,
like even
right.
before all that, she was gonna run away with him, even if he had nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said earlier that I don't think like did not think that that line actually like mattered. I feel like that was security because she did want him and she fucking risked it. She went to the train station and I thought that was proof of that, you know?
I this isn't really like a
No
I don't know.
bombshells here.
No, not really. I thought it was kind of cool how I don't know trains were used like as like a way of like progressing the plot, but also as like I don't know an idea of changing your situation. Because like at the I don't know when like they run away from I don't remember the guy's name, but when they leave the girl behind and
Oh,
then the brothers
Maman.
go up. Yes, when they leave him and they go on the trains, it's like them growing up. They move from like young adolescence into like early teenage years.
Yeah.
Um, and then like later on, it's like um,
Oh my gosh, when they jumped off that train, I thought that was the smoothest transition I've ever seen.
Bro, that was
I was
sick. I loved
cool.
that.
They
That was
aged through the sand, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Through the
I love
pour,
those
as you would
teenager.
say.
Through the I freaking love how when it transitioned, my first reaction was, "Wow, these teenage actors are like epic." I'm like, "These got a fro now? Wow,
Oh my
Hmm.
goodness.
epic,
I know,
upgrade,
right?
evolved, we out here growing
Oh,
up."
Was it just me? Like, for some odd reason, I didn't see. So when Salim grew up, he looked a bit different. I was like, I'm not quite putting the two and two together. Oh no,
A
like
little
Jamal
bit,
looked
yeah.
fine.
No, Jamal definitely looked like almost all of his child actors, but then Salim
Yeah,
definitely did.
Latika looked like her child
She,
actor
yeah,
too. Well,
yeah,
sort of.
I could see
She was a
hers.
lot prettier though. But that's also that depends on like because she by the time she was an adult, she was prepped and like
Anyway,
she was wearing makeup and all the dresses and stuff. But when
We're
she
not
was a
gonna,
kid, they
yeah,
were in the slums like begging for money.
we're not gonna
They-
focus on it. But adult Latika is gorgeous.
She's very beautiful. She's very
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
very beautiful, I
Disney
agree.
princess baby.
I like the innocence they showed with the kids, like when they're all eating and they're talking. It was Amon, right? What was his name? I gotta.
Maman
The
was the bad orphanage dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you even, before you really get to know the character, even though you can get hints of who he is, the kid's like, oh, he must be good. He's feeding us. He's, giving us drinks. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like a child's, they don't, they're still innocent. They have their innocence.
Hmm.
They have, So I thought that was a cool way. And if I may stretch
Their
one more,
naivety.
if I may stretch one more time, when they
Stretch.
went to the Taj Mahal
Yeah.
and they had the play of Eurydice,
Hmm.
or did they go in deep of what that story was?
No, that's probably one of those things you were just supposed to know.
See, because I looked into it.
Because I know nothing of that play.
I looked into it. It's about a she was a nymph. It's a Greek mythology story. She's a nymph and who died, and her lover he legit went down to the underworld itself, and their love was so strong that even Hades was like, "All right, you can do it. Just go to the mortal world and don't look back." But
Hmm.
basically the end of the story is he looked back, so she went back to the underworld, so she stayed there forever.
I remember.
And
Actually, I do know
Oh.
yeah, and Orpheus
Yeah. Yeah.
he eventually died and went to the underworld, and they have been together. And the moral of the story, many people say, is like love is strong and always, it'll always be there. You know what I mean? Like
that.
you
Oh
gotta,
yeah,
it will always
that's
come back.
right. The
Wait.
dude was Orpheus. That's fucking Persona 3's protagonist's persona.
Oh,
That's
no.
nice.
That's why. That's what I was like. I know this story. It's because
Never
of
look
that.
back, dude.
And
Never look back.
they will forever love each other in the underworld. And I was like, that's awesome. How it's kind
She-
of like this moral kind of works with Slumdog. Oh, they'll always love each other. And I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
Wait, was that her character arc?
Was what her
Because
character
like
arc?
they all kind of like ran away together. She got out of the crap. She was in the underworld, right?
The criminal.
And then she looked back, and then went back. Well, no, I guess
Oh,
not, because she eventually got out.
I will say, I don't know if they were trying to nod to the story, but in the end, she's like, "Look, she said something along the lines of, "Look, we're together, and we didn't even have to die for it." I'm like Orpheus and guys, they died
I've-
for it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she said, "I thought the next time I would see you, would meet you, would be in death."
Would
And I
be
was like,
death,
"Ah,
yeah.
Greek mythology showing up, my man."
Which,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Wow.
actually that would be a nod to that story.
Look at that
Yeah.
writing, guys.
Look at that.
A good catch, Nathaniel.
Look at Nathaniel's utter genius.
Yep.
We're
What
seeing
Nathaniel,
some
your
high
genius
level
is
IQ
showing.
at work.
The Meg is
Praise him more. Praise. We are not worthy. Okay,
To
sorry.
all you listening, Hobbs and Shaw's an Oscar-worthy film.
No, it's
Fuck
not.
that.
I agree
And
with
he
that.
lost it.
Alright,
No, he's
alright.
fucking idiot again.
Dang, dude, we just got
Pop
beat
it
up.
up.
It's 3 out of 5, dude.
Immediately became big
But that's
dumb.
okay because we own 50% of the company, so it doesn't matter.
And
Okay.
that was-
Anyway,
That was
What?
my stretch. That was my stretch, everybody.
that was cool. That was interesting.
Mm.
I dig it.
I don't have anything else to add. I thought the movie was fun, but I don't know about its like. I don't know. It's
He liked the
It's-
Lighthouse more. Just say it. Just say it. I
Just-
No,
sense
that's
it.
not what
I
I'm-
sensed it
actually-
since the second he started to talk.
Are we
Actually,
going
I
back? Are
did.
we going
Good
back
movie,
to
we gotta fight.
Lighthouse?
No, I mean
Yeah,
the as far as like a central message goes,
This
I
had
don't-
one that didn't.
yeah. Well, no, I just mean like love is strong. But then if we think about Nathaniel, you're gonna get a kick out of this. If you think back to maybe Parasite, and
I'm the kid.
it
Oh
has,
my
it has very
Don't.
very clear defined ideas about economy and
stances?
class. Yeah, but this one kind of contradicts itself. in a
Yeah,
few
that's why I
places.
think I'm like mixed on this movie because I love the story,
Yeah.
but I also am like me and the director are not looking at the story in the same way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Like
think I'm
me and
kind of
me and him are not on the same page, even though like I like the story and the
Yeah.
characters, but I don't like the director. I don't
Okay.
like his take. Even
Yeah.
though, yeah, like I would totally I do the same plot maybe, but if I was like the director, this movie would not have been this way.
Mm.
Like that's
Actually,
how I think of it.
I really don't like how he put the Americans on the pedestal. Like
He did.
throughout the no, yeah, he absolutely did.
Yeah,
Like all throughout the
yeah.
movie, like
Yeah.
it was
This is like
$100
a
bill
more
sent to this
Western
blind
than
kid,
it
right?
is.
That $100
Yeah,
bill saving, and that's a lot of money. I calculated it out. It was like I don't know, 16,000
Rupees.
rupees. Well, in today's money would be like 200 something.
yeah,
But that means it was that $100 bill. If you multiply it up to like back then in inflation, it was like 4,000 rupees worth of stuff is $100 bill. So he gave him 4,000 rupees, right? And that's an American bill. They asked about the American Benjamin, the freaking
Benjamin
the tourist,
Franklin.
you
the
ever gotten
tourist.
one of those?
Actually, that
Benjamins.
pissed me off. Was they came back and their car was scrapped, right? Who
Oh.
punched them in the face? The freaking Indian guy that was with them, not the American guy. Okay, who like I fully expected the American guy to punch him. Instead, the American guy's like, here,
Well,
here, here, let me show you what Americans do,
Poor
and he gave
thing.
him money.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
like
like,
I definitely didn't like that scene. Also,
I really
I'm
hated
I
that
well
remember
scene.
that movie.
I don't know why. Also, though, I don't know why you expected the American dude to punch him. That he wouldn't have. That's not okay by American standards.
No.
So like he
Yeah,
would
but
not
that
have punched him. But
uh,
I don't think the Indian dude should have like I don't think that scene should have been how it is. This is how America is. Like she should I didn't like that line. But also
No.
the American dude, there's no fucking way he would have hit him.
No, that's
no,
Like
I think
that's
that's
not
that's
what
right.
that's
I
not
don't know.
what would have
Maybe
happened.
maybe I've
I
been
could see him
watching
being
too many
mad.
like gang things because
Yeah,
like
I could see him being
even
mad,
the
but he
main
wouldn't punch
character
a kid.
every time every like for Jamal every time freaking what's her face is insulted. Oh gosh.
Latika.
Latika?
Latika, thank you. I'm so tired.
Chilling.
Latika, every time she's insulted, he attacked the deputy guy.
Yeah,
Okay, like the freaking bodyguard guy.
yeah, he goes
He
off.
attacked him. He attacked his brother. He freaking like he went after other people. His brother had to hold him back, right? Freaking like he was snapping on a moment's notice, right? But then this American sees that his car's been trashed, and I mean, I don't know. He's not necessarily the one paying for the.
Well, it wasn't his car. It was the Indian dude's car. They were just being driven.
Oh yeah,
It
true.
wasn't their car.
True. I thought it was
That
a rental.
that's why he had asked the driver. He's like, "You have insurance, don't you?" Because it wasn't his car. He didn't give a shit. He's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna have to
Oh,
wait a little bit to be driven." It wasn't his car.
okay. I thought it was like a rental car for him, and it was
Yeah.
like so I was fully expecting that guy to like because
No,
he didn't
they
scrap
had
the
they had a
rental car.
driver.
That sucks.
Yeah, they had a
Yeah, no.
driver. So
Yeah, I
Um,
thought the driver was like for the company or something. I
you
don't know.
wouldn't you
I
wouldn't get
thought
a
they were
rental and
the
a
rich American whatevers were renting a car. So I fully expected the man to be all like brawny and pissed off, but instead he was like, "Here, have money, here." Have money." Like no American did anything violent, whereas like all these Indian guys throughout the film
yeah.
punching, freaking electrocuting, like the freaking torture methods in just the like casually. They were like
Yeah.
torture methods.
Yeah.
So it was like I don't know. I felt like
I didn't like how like I don't know if that was like accurate for the country, but I don't like how Americans were portrayed because that like if that was me, I'd have
Saviors.
been fucking pissed. I would not have given that kid money. Like I would have stopped the dude from beating him up, but I wouldn't have given
Yeah.
that kid money. Like why
Yeah.
he fucking it's probably his fault my car's fucked up, you
Yeah.
know?
I,
It's like
I the thing that I hate most about that scene, that is annoying the way that the
Wait,
Americans
okay,
are.
can I pause for
But
1 second? I
go ahead.
do not know what scene you're talking about.
Oh, when they go to the beach and he's like, and there's people smacking the clothes on the drawing boards or whatever,
he's
and then
being
he's
a
like,
tour guide.
yeah,
Jamal's
American.
being a
That's it.
tour guide.
That's it. Thank
Yeah.
And then Salim and his people come and tear the car apart.
they
Um,
literally scrap it.
Yeah.
the worst thing for me in that scene isn't that it's the kid literally says like, and this is how, or maybe not literally, he says something
India,
along the lines of
the
this
taste
is
of India.
Yeah, he said this
yeah,
is a taste of what India is
And then the
like.
American says, "Here, let me give you a taste of America," and
I,
gives him a
I
$20
Oh
bill.
wow.
I can understand
Yeah.
why I can understand why the child would say like, okay, like my whole life's been struggle. I hate this. I hate the place I live. Here's the thing. But the reason how the like writer slash director of the movie puts
can't
that in,
stand
it's
that.
like
Yeah,
it's
I
such
hated
a
that.
weird like, oh, we love this country, we want to give it respect, but also it's full of liars, beggars, and cheats, and people who just
Yeah.
hit kids all the time because
Yeah.
every kid has to be beat. And it's like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's 100% like accurate.
I
Yeah.
feel like it can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steven, you were saying how there was like there's like been criticism of the movie, like
Yeah.
and anti for being anti-Indian, and
Yeah.
I feel like I totally see
I
that with
totally
scenes
see
like
it.
that
Yeah.
because I'm like, I swear, everything's like defined by how poor they are, and the fact that the American literally says "Taste of America" and it's just dollar like money.
Dollars, dude.
Yeah.
It's like
what do you
these
mean?
people are defined by poverty, and then Americans are defined by being rich.
Yeah, like
Dude, imperialism, dude. Come
bro,
on.
I'm
know, getting-
poor. I ain't got money. I wouldn't, but
Dog, I'm
nah.
broke, don't
See,
worry.
that's why we need to watch the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
And
'Cause
now we're
that's
sorry.
another movie with Dave Patel, but that shows why India's great.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
I
That
haven't-
that movie's really good. I doubt any of you have seen it. It wasn't
Right.
like a blockbuster hit, but I liked it a lot. I watched it with my family when it came out way back in the day.
Wow.
No, don't worry. Listen, we're all broke here, but don't
That
worry. I
one's
got you with
literally
this
about a
perspective.
bunch of old people going to this hotel that Dave Patel owns, and
Oh.
it's just really cool. I don't know. I liked it a
That's
lot.
like a different type
Do
of
you
poverty though. Like that's.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Another.
Manscaped.
Man,
Okay, stop,
hey, there
stop,
we go.
Stop.
Dude, listen, we gotta
Okay,
get
giving out
no,
free money.
it's actually you cannot say you're sponsored by. You have to say it's a joke. That was a joke.
Okay,
That was a
was
piece of
YouTube will
parody.
literally fucking kill us if we say that.
That was a piece of
Hey,
parody.
I
which is
didn't
protected under
say
fair
anything.
use.
Sorry, I got a phone call. Jason Statham said that.
I didn't say anybody. Okay,
Yeah.
in my
So
defense.
anyway, another Indian movie,
That's-
the Darjeeling Limited Wes Anderson movie. It's on the list. We'll see about it, but
2
that's
years
another
ago,
one.
dude.
by Wes
Oh,
Anderson.
gosh.
By Wes Anderson,
Love
who
the
I
first-
love.
But yeah,
Dog, yeah.
Jamal, I do want to say this though.
yeah.
Oh,
Half the universe was wiped out. Jamal would survive because he understood the hardest decisions require the strongest of wills. Because he jumped
He
in
went
poop
through that
to
poop
meet
to
the
get
next-
an autograph.
Oh yeah,
You're right.
I
My man.
literally said that. I was like, the
My
strongest
man.
wills.
When
Yeah.
you said that, Jose, I was like, Thanos would be like, "You are part of my army now. You are a general. You get it."
He
Literally said that
understands.
during the film.
Man, deep in a pool of poop.
Deep
Deep.
in it.
Dog, he's
That was
sank.
deep. That was like a cannonball.
Sank.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
he
so
jumps down.
bad.
It's like, oh, he's just gonna get it on his shoes, but then he goes
That's what I
into
thought.
a
He goes,
massive
"Oh,
pool of it.
go
Yeah.
into it, dude.
Like that was literally like a shit lake.
Then trucks his way through a crowd. That kid was
Yeah, like, oh
Bro,
gosh,
it was so, you could see like poop left on someone's like fucking
Horrified.
shirt.
guys, it's 2 for 2. Both these movies had like poop scenes.
Oh my god, you're right.
What's it say? Lighthouse.
That's
this.
our theme of the movies we watch, dude.
Wait,
They
we
all have to
gotta
have
find
poop.
the poop scene. Oh my gosh.
That was
Jesus
a-
Christ. That was peanut butter, guys. It wasn't poop. It was peanut butter.
It actually
definitely-
looked like peanut
Uh,
butter.
Is it
Okay.
okay if I say what our next sponsor is?
We don't have a
Oh.
sponsor.
Never mind. Sorry.
Damn it. Copyright.
We don't
Oh.
have a sponsor.
Darn.
We're poor.
We're
Yeah.
poor. Give
I'm gonna work at the
me
lighthouse.
money.
Dog, you think we can get that Twitch sponsorship stuff?
No,
No,
And on
not a chance.
not a
unless
goddamn
anyone,
chance.
unless anyone has anything else to add about the movie, is that it? Is that the end of
Shout
episode
out
2?
to Slip.zip in the audience.
We see you.
We see you. We love
I don't.
you. Follow that man on Twitch.
I
Give
just-
him money. He deserves money.
I just-
Anyway,
And on that bombshell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
it's
think
time to
that's
leave.
it.
Yeah.
You want-
All right.
In conclusion,
thank you
I
both.
love this movie and I hate its director.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I really enjoyed it, especially
right.
the dancing scene at the end.
Dude,
that was really
the
cool.
dancing
was fun.
scene of
That was
J
fun.
Ho in the end, literally the best scene in the fucking movie. They
Oh,
made
yeah,
that
I really
song
enjoyed that.
for the movie, biggest bop of 08.
That-
You
that's
heard it.
why it
You
was
heard
voted-
it here first.
Because
That's why it was voted best feel good.
Best feel
There
good
you go.
use of the year,
Right
right
there.
there. Because
Right
of
there.
that
Oh.
scene.
Because of that song. They're
That
like,
scene.
oh, all this
Yeah.
brutality at the beginning, but the song.
But
feel
that
good right there.
song, bro.
Exactly.
Steven, I want you to vibe check with me on this.
Yep.
The way I feel about this movie is the same way I feel about Crash.
Bandicoot.
Crash.
No, shut up. Do you remember the movie Crash that also won an Oscar but for best film?
Never
Sound
seen
worse?
Crash. No.
We love you,
explain it to me.
Slip.
Break it
Thank
down.
you for coming.
Never seen Crash. Okay, then I guess the reference isn't as fantastic.
We'll put that on the list.
You just
Yeah,
made the
there you
list.
You just made the list.
Here's just another thing.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, let me take fucking this movie off the list, by the way, just to make sure.
I was gonna say because
Oh, yeah,
Crash
sure.
is one of those Oscar winners that in hindsight, not everyone's like, that shit sucks. Never
Please.
give it up.
Is that what
Holy
Jason
wow.
Statham?
Dude, Jason
No.
Statham's
A
like
Jason
Oh,
Statham movie
basically
getting an Oscar, literally
I
impossible.
think so.
dude,
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. I
It's
got
not didn't get an
What-
Oscar.
No,
Yes,
Don
it did.
Cheadle
You
was in
just you're not living in the right universe.
what's that one?
Don
Jason
Cheadle wasn't
Statham-
fresh.
What, Nathaniel?
Oh, nice. Don Cheadle. I love Don
Yeah, he's
Cheadle.
like one of the main guys.
I got Crash confused with that movie with Jason Statham where like
Anyway.
his heart certain beat.
Yep.
What is that
Yeah,
movie?
we should probably
should end
end it off,
this.
shouldn't we? Yeah.
Yep.
So
Anyway,
this
in the
was
comments,
great.
what's the movie with Jason Statham and his heart beating? In the comments. Give it
Yeah,
now.
in the comments, tell us your
Let us know.
favorite Jason Statham movie.
It better
Yeah,
be the
no,
Meg.
Honestly.
And it
No.
better
It's
it
way
had better
better.
be the Transporter.
I better.
no, the Transporter 2.
No, fuck
Anyway.
that one. Anyway,
We're already going off again.
so follow us on Twitter and
No.
Facebook if you want to. We also have a YouTube this is on. So
This is,
if you want,
uh,
you can find us there. I always
Don't do it.
I always put out when we're streaming and when a new episode's up, and the day before I announce the movie on all of those as well. So just if you want to see what's coming up,
If you want.
if you want, I actually don't give a shit. This is just fun, so that's why I do it. It's just because it's a good time. But
Got it.
anyway, yeah.
Bye
I
bye.
think- have a
Yeah.
good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Everyone have
Thank you.
peace.
Thank you.
Holla.
Rust.
Bye.